All right. So, we're talking about young people today, and young folks have it, really tough by comparison to what we used to have. At least that's what we think. And, we like to kind of have a little conversation about young people and kind of what they're going through today because, it seems like a lot of different things are accepted by young people today, and it seems like they don't really have any direction about where they're going. So we're going to kind of start some of these videos out and talk about it, and you guys don't have any direction about where you're going and what you want to do with your life, that type thing. You have a lot of temptations, a lot of things going on. So we're just going to kind of talk about it. So
sounds good, Mike. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, people, let's just deal with church folks right now. A lot of the young kids now in church, and I think what they feel is they're kind of, left out in church. So the preacher's preaching to them, and they're talking, they're acting like, you can't have feelings for a man, and if you're a woman, and if you're a woman, you can't have feelings for a man. And I don't think it's a good thing. I think that obviously God meant for a boy to have feelings for a girl. I mean, that's what procreation is all about, having children and, telling Noah to repopulate the earth. So we're not acting like you guys don't have feelings. But I guess, where the problem comes in is a lot of young people don't know how to control those passions, meaning it's all right. It's a natural thing for a boy to like a girl and for a girl to like a boy. The problem comes in is when they start messing around and doing things they ain't got no business, and now you stuck. So a moment of pleasure creates a lifetime of misery. And so, so we do understand that you guys have stresses, you have things. So that's what we're talking about today. Kind of dealing with some of this kind of stuff because I think young folks want some information about it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree, Mike. Thank you, Mike. Because, I think in the church that we tend to try to evade these topics, and then we leave our young people looking for role models, looking for answers because they're not getting them from whom they should be getting them from, which is us, their parents, and believers in what the Bible teaches, because there's Bible teachings on relationships for young people, adults, everyone. So I think we need to just live up to our responsibilities as educators to educate our children and young people so that they don't go out into the streets and into the magazines and the TV and media and see how are we supposed to behave in relationships. And it's a very evasive thing because we don't want to deal with it, maybe because we in the church are uncomfortable with dealing with such topics.
Well, let's break it down. What are we talking about? What are we talking about young folks dealing with? We're talking about dating. We're talking about, what are we talking about here?
Sure, Mike. I think we're talking about every step of the way of feelings towards another person, just general relationships as well, friendships, relationships. But then as they're getting older, dealing with partners, looking for a life partner. Where are you going to be at in the 10, 15 years? What are your plans? And so on and so forth. And then how to deal with just the basic behavior of a young man, behavior of a young woman, what's becoming of a young man and woman.
Okay, so let's talk about it. What is the first thing, based on what we look at in Scripture? Basically, the Scripture says that thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, mind, soul, and strength. So the first responsibility, whether it's a young man or young lady, is they're responsible to God, and their behavior is supposed to be regulated by Scripture. So if we say that the Bible is the way, the truth, and the life, then you know, we got to look into that book and find out how young man's supposed to treat his lady, and young ladies should treat, you know, their prospective boyfriends, you know. Of course, you know, so I think, you know, that's probably the first place to start, is what your priorities are. You know, first thing you're starting out with is you have to love God first. And if a boy is, the only thing that he wants to do with you, young lady, is to do what he wants to do with you and get rid of you, I think you should have enough wisdom to say, you know what, obviously this guy's trying to just get one thing, and we all know what we're talking about here. And, you know, and
so this is my point, Mike. So why are we being so evasive? Why do you have to say, we all know what you're talking about here?
well, we're talking about, straight up, we're talking about sex.
Okay.
Okay, let's talk about it. Good, let's break it down.
You know what I'm talking about.
All right, we're talking about sex. I'm trying to have some kind of reasonable church, so we're talking about sex. Okay?
Reasonable church.
Good.
Again,
Yeah.
point, Mike.
Well, I mean, you know, it's all right. But I mean, let's talk about sex. Okay? Is it all right for, you know, a guy and a girl to basically test out their partner before they, you know, before they get married? Now, you know, and it bothers me that church kids would ask such questions. So somewhere there's a disconnect where kids think it's all right to do that, you know. But I'm telling you right now,
Why does that bother you, Mike? That church kids?
Well, because I think there's somewhere they're missing teaching that they're not getting, you know. And
so we have failed our children.
the church, I think, has failed in presenting to kids like they're not even a part of the church, and they don't have feelings and this type thing, and we wonder, you know, why kids are leaving left and right. And I think they're leaving left and right because they're not having any instruction to help guide their decisions, you know. And of course, that's the parents' part. Parents, you're the ones who your kids need to be listening to. Now, we know that, you know, the preacher has a lot of influence in their life, but it's you, parents, getting involved in your kids' life. I'm amazed at the kids that I see, Renee, that, you know, their parents, what, when they turn 18, hey, go get a job, go do your thing, whatever, and they've never given them any instruction. So, you know, all of what the culmination of what we're talking about here is we got to get back to the instruction book and find out what that book says about what the parents' role is and what the kids' roles are. Because, you know, we don't want to fall into that category where children are disobedient to the parents, but at the same time, if parents aren't doing what they're supposed to do, what's a kid supposed to do? Respect the parents? You know, we need to talk about some of the stuff so we can get the order of how the family is supposed to be designed so everything will work the way God said it'll work. That's where I'm coming with that, you know. But, you know, I think the parents somehow, we got to bring them into it, obviously, you know, because they're the ones that are responsible to God for those kids and what they taught them.
I agree. And, you know, it's kind of interesting because talking about the family, it's amazing that the family, I want to say, is under attack, which, you know, we all hear that in Christianity. But there is a purpose, there is a plan to destroy the family, and we can see that happening more and more every day. We can see inches and feet of progress being made, and families being redefined, what a family is. You know, it's unfortunate that there are times when there's just a mother and a daughter, and that's a family, and that is a family, but that's not the family God intended, because there are struggles that family is going to have. There are things that family, although they are a family, that they're going to lack. But that is not the family that God intended for us to have.
Okay. Well, listen, we're kind of getting short on time here, so what we want to do is we want you to send in, you know, questions to us. So let's talk about these things, and we're going to continue this series. You know, we're having, you know, 10-minute segments basically, and we're going to talk about this stuff straight up. We're not going to.
Come back and see us. Mike and Renee will be talking about family, your young people, careers, health,
the whole
finances,
thing. So we'll see you in about